Hey y'all, my name is Mare. Welcome back to my channel. So we're gonna start a brand new vlog where I'm going to read until I get a 5-star book. So I'm sure you've seen this video floating around the internet, and I have decided it is time to start my own version because I am in desperate need of a 5-star. I have not been reading the last few days, and when I have been reading, I've been listening to audiobooks, which is not like me because I've just been more interested in playing video games and like doing other things. So I've just been playing in an audiobook while I do that. It's been great because I've still been getting reading done, but I also feel like I haven't found a book that I really truly love in a couple weeks. I just did a 5-star predictions video, which I will link in the cards and in the description if you guys want to check that out. To do this video, we're going to be pulling books from that video. I'm not really sure which ones we'll read. We could read one book, we could read 5 books, we could, you know, keep this video going until the end of time, but I think I'll probably end it after 5 tries, because if 5 of my 5-star predictions aren't 5 stars, we have a problem. The first book that I want to start off with is Bright Young Women by Jessica Knoll. So this is a mystery thriller that focuses on the victims of a serial killer. It's based off of the Ted Bundy case. So I'll give you more details once I actually start reading it, but I want to start with this one because I'm like in the mood for a good thriller, and I've also just heard such good things about this one. So genuinely, I think we could read this and be done with the video. If that one does not turn out to be a 5-star though, I have plenty of options to choose from. So some other titles that we might get to are Powerless by Lauren Roberts. I'm very excited about this one, and I think it might be the right time to read it, just to like a good YA fantasy fun-filled time. Speaking of fun-filled YA fantasy, I've also got Silver in the Bone on my TBR for this video, tentative TBR, and this is a King Arthur retelling. Now, I know I'm not getting to this one in this video, so we're not gonna talk about it. But other fantasy books, I've got Last Tale of the Flower Bride by Roshani Chokshi. We've also got Lightlark by Alex Astor, which is a book talk darling, but I have been very curious about this one for a while, so I definitely want to read this one soon. But the book that I'm like most excited about, that was on my 5-star predictions video, that I think like will actually change my life, is Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez, which is a romance title. This one came out in April of this year, and I love Abby Jimenez. She's one of my favorite authors of all time. So if anyone is gonna do it for me, I think it's gonna be Miss Abby, but I think I'm going to read this third. So here's my plan. I wanna get a 5-star immediately with this video. However, if we read one book and then we're done, that's not that interesting. So we're gonna start with Bright Young Women because I'm in the mood for a mystery, and I think that if any of them on my TV are gonna be 5-star, this is a good contender. And if it's not 5 stars, I wanna jump into a fantasy, and I'm thinking that one's gonna be Powerless. And then hopefully, if neither of those are 5 stars, I mean, I want them to be 5 stars, so I don't know why I said hopefully, but like if those aren't, then we're going to read Just for the Summer. And then we'll do a couple different genres, so that'll be fun and exciting. Everything I told you could also be a lie, besides the fact that I'm starting with this one because I'm gonna go read it right now. But stay tuned. This will be a hopefully very fun vlog where I read books that I really, really like, if not love. So we'll go ahead and start Bright Young Women, and I'll chat with you guys when I'm about halfway through. Hi friends, so I'm about 40% into Bright Young Women. I'm just gonna go ahead and update you guys because I don't foresee myself having a lot of opinions in the next 10%, and I think I'm gonna be too tired later in the night to update you guys, but I want to keep reading. So Bright Young Women is following our main character Pamela, who is the president of her sorority house, and you're split between a couple different time periods. So you're in the past where Pamela is actively her president, and in the future where she's working towards something that we don't know too much about. So in the past, she's trying to solve this mystery of who this guy was that she saw when she was in her sorority house. She saw this mysterious guy leave, and when she goes upstairs, she discovers that a couple of the girls are injured, and a few of them, including her best friend, wind up dead. She's working with this other girl named Tina, who is the best friend of another girl who went missing. This one's probably gonna be a 4-star. I don't think this one's quite 5-star material for me, but things could change by the end. I'm not having really any glaring issues with it. The writing was a little bit difficult for me to digest in the beginning, and I found myself having to reread a lot of paragraphs in the beginning, but it just was me getting used to it. Also, don't love all of the perspectives that we have. We have Pamela's perspective in the past and in present day, and we also have Ruth, who is the best friend of Tina who gets murdered. So we're getting different points of view that kind of all blend together for me just a little bit. Like, they have different storylines going on, but their voices feel very similar. So I keep having to like flip back and be like, okay, whose perspective am I reading from? But beyond that, I'm very interested to see what happened, how Tina and Pamela are going to work together to find this mystery man and hopefully see him brought to justice. But it's just kind of slow so far. Again, no glaring issues, but nothing that I'm super duper loving either. So far, solid read. I'll report back when I finished if it's been upgraded to a 5-star. Hi guys, so I have just finished, well, not just finished, but I have finished Bright Young Women. I actually finished this probably about 2 days ago now, and I ended up giving this one a 3.5-star rating. Now, this is not the 5-star that I wanted it to be. However, I will say this was like closer to a 4-star than it was a 3. It just didn't quite click for me 100%. But that being said, I still really enjoyed this. I think what it came down to was that perhaps I had too high of expectations because everyone had told me how amazing this book was. And don't get me wrong, it is very well written and it was amazing. It just was not the perfect match for me. I still think that this is a very important story. I really enjoyed that this focused on the bright young women at the center of the story instead of the defendant. And I just think that it's an important story to read, so I definitely still would recommend this. I just didn't get that 5-star that I was looking for with this one, but still very well written. I think it just kind of came down to I didn't like the time jumps and I didn't like the different perspectives. I wish it was just a little bit more streamlined for me, and that would have made it to be a more satisfying story. Yeah, 3.5. Not a 5-star, which is a bummer, but that does mean that we get to continue on with this video. And the next book that I decided to pick up is Silver on the Bone by Alexandra Bracken. So I have already started this. I am well over 50%. I'm probably closer to 60 or so percent. I have about 150 pages left, and this one is quite chunky. This book follows our protagonist Tamsin, who is a hollower, which is basically just a magical artifact finder. She finds herself working with this guy Emrys, who's also a hollower, and she does not get along with him, but the two of them have to work together in order to find an artifact that can help save her brother from his curse. What's interesting about this one is that the artifact that they are after is actually straight from the Arthurian legend, so King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table, and I don't want to spoil too much about what actually happens afterwards, but it does launch you into this interesting setting that is not what you would expect it to be for a story like this. So I'm really enjoying how we use the Arthurian legend as a base, but we're twisting it on its head quite a lot. I'm really enjoying the fact that I don't know what's coming, even though I know these characters. The thing is, the people in the Arthurian legend, like Arthur, Guinevere, Lancelot, they're mentioned in this book, but they're not like reincarnations of these characters, or at least I don't think so. So this is more so about the setting of Avalon and the lore of King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table. So that's interesting because I feel like I haven't read as many books about the Arthurian legend that do that. I'm liking our main character. I feel like her conversations with Emrys, who I'm assuming is going to be her love interest because they hate each other at the beginning of the book, and that's just how that works. I'm assuming her and Emrys are going to get together, and their banter is very playful. I enjoy seeing them have conversations together, and the conversations that she has with both her brother and Emrys and those around her feel very authentic and genuine because they make mistakes, but they own up to those mistakes, and it's just very interesting to see and read. I love it. When I was looking at Goodreads reviews for this one, a lot of people say that the beginning is very slow, but the last like 200 pages are very action-packed, and honestly I haven't found this book slow at all. It isn't super fast-paced, but I've never once lost interest. I will say, however, that this book is definitely very dense for a young adult fantasy. I feel like this is definitely on the higher end of young adult fantasy, and honestly I would have loved to see these characters have been aged up to like low 20s because I feel like we could have done a lot more with that. And I also just feel like the tone of this book feels more like it's catered to someone who's in their high teens or low 20s, because it just feels more sophisticated than your typical young adult fantasy. The writing is a little bit harder to get into and things like that. That's not to say I'm not enjoying it. I really am enjoying this. I don't, however, think that this is going to be a 5-star. I think that ending is really going to decide that, but this is a very, very solid 4-star. It's not giving that 5-star feeling, first of all. And also I feel like some of the plot points are just kind of like randomly put in the story instead of more naturally integrated. I just feel like we could have connected those ends more, and that's really it. It just doesn't feel like a 5-star, but like it's feeling like a very strong 4-star, and I'm already really interested in the sequel. I have also been reading this one pretty fast. I mean, I didn't even get a chance to update you guys. Plan for the rest of the night is to finish this, hopefully. We'll see, but I'm gonna focus on that, and I'll talk to you guys when I'm done.
Tinted glasses got me feeling like your clothes are so pretty. I'm torn about the way you love me more when you're not here with me. We fuss and we fight, and it seems like it's every night. I could count up all the tears in the sky, still you're as bright as the North Star. You got a lot to my heart. We go from hate to love to hate. Hate that I feel this way, love that you feel the same.
Good morning, guys. I have a few reading updates for you guys. I did finish Silver in the Bone. I finished this a couple days ago, and unfortunately this was not a 5-star either. But I really liked it. I really liked it to the point where I've been thinking about it days afterwards, and I am highly anticipating the sequel. Really loved it, but not enough to give it 5 stars. So this one is like a very solid 4, perhaps even a 4.5 star, but it just did not get the 5-star rating for me, which is really sad. Honestly, would highly recommend this to anyone looking for YA fantasy that reads a little bit more new adult, that the characters feel a little bit more grounded. The reason why this didn't get quite 5 stars for me is there just were a lot of moments where I wanted either more explanation about something or less explanation about something. The pacing was a little bit off for me, and I was never bored. I really wasn't never confused. I just had to pay very close attention to every little thing that was happening, and sometimes I just felt like things were randomly thrown in when they could have been better integrated to the story, especially if they're going to be a big aspect of it. I wouldn't have minded if this book was 100 pages longer, if it felt everything that was there was originally supposed to be there and not an afterthought. That was my only thing. I liked how they used the setting of Avalon in this book. It was very different from what you would have expected. It's also urban fantasy, but it's not really in this book. I have a feeling the second book is going to definitely be a lot more urban fantasy because of things that happened. The setting was interesting. I really liked the setting. I really liked the characters. The plot was very interesting. Like, high praise, honestly, for this book, but it just didn't have that 5-star feeling, unfortunately. But we need to talk about that ending, and I'm not going to spoil it for you guys, but this right here is how you end a freaking book, okay? I'm flabbergasted. My jaw was on the floor. I didn't see it coming at all, but you know what? It didn't feel out of left field. It made perfect sense. I just didn't think about it. And when a book bamboozles me like that, oh, I'm in. I'm sat. So I will be reading the sequel. I need it now, like desperately. It doesn't come out till the end of July, but I have a feeling the sequel to this book could very well be 5 stars. Really enjoyed this, really did. This is going to be a fantasy that I recommend on my channel for a very long time to come. I keep thinking about it. I want to already kind of reread it, but then I'm like, it's not a 5 star, if it is a 5 star, I don't know. So maybe I'll change my mind later on, but really good. I feel like I don't hear anyone talking about this. Yeah, that is Silver in the Bone. Really enjoyed it, had a lot of fun. Already want to reread it, so I don't know, maybe this is gonna be my 5 star. I don't know. For the purpose of this video, it's not a 5 star because I feel like it has to be in the moment. Like, I love this book, and I do. I just had a couple of issues with it. Okay, I keep saying the same thing, but like, I need to say my piece. So now we need to talk about the third book for this video, and I really thought that this was going to be the end of the video. Like, this was gonna be my 5 star, and then I started reading it, and I don't know if that's the case anymore, and that is Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez. Now, don't get me wrong, having a good time with this. I am really enjoying this one, but it's feeling like a 4 star to me. While I'm having fun reading all these 4 stars, the point of this video is to find a 5 star read, and if this isn't 5 stars, I don't know what would be, you know what I mean? Because I love Abby with my whole heart. Let's give you a synopsis for this one. So Just for the Summer follows Emma and Justin, who both have a curse that every person that they date finds their soulmate once they break off with that original person. So Justin posts about this on Reddit, and it ends up having Emma DM him because of it. So Emma is a travel nurse, and she decides to go to Michigan in order to spend some time with Justin, get to know him, and they decide this like fake plan to date, kiss, break up. That way the two of them can find their own soulmates after they date each other. So hopefully, because they both have this curse, it would ultimately be broken by dating each other, right? So cute concept. Emma and her friend Maddie, who she travels with, are on this little cottage island which you have to access by boat, which I always thought was a bad idea, and we're seeing like problems arise because of it. So I'm sure that that's going to be a plot device later in the book, is there's going to be some sort of issue with that. It's been cute so far. There's definitely been a couple of like laugh out loud funny moments, but the chemistry between Justin and Emma, I see it, but I don't like love it. Like I like it, but I'm not like, oh my god, if these two don't get together, like I don't know what I'm gonna do kind of feelings. It's hard because romance is all very much based on the tension between characters, and while I'm feeling that tension, I just don't know how much I'm really like wanting them to get together. Like I do want them to get together, but like this is not my favorite romance couple of all time, I could tell you that now. But I could feel differently by the end of the book because there are definitely some heavier topics in this as well. I feel like the romance isn't taking a backseat to these issues, but when your life is going through experiences such as Emma and Justin, it's hard for them as characters to really prioritize romance, right? Justin's dilemma right now is that his mother is going to prison, and so he is taking custody of his siblings, and that's a very hard task, hard thing to do. First of all, you're dealing with your mom going to prison, but now you're becoming a parent and a guardian to these people who should just be your siblings. That's a very hard and serious thing. And we've also got Emma, who has been pretty much abandoned by her mother her whole life and has a very complicated relationship with her. She's also trying to navigate her family relationship as well, and it's also mentioned that she doesn't want kids, doesn't really want to make these connections with people. That's, to me, it's why she's a travel nurse, right? She likes to just kind of pop in for a couple weeks and go because she doesn't want to build these attachments. So it's clear that she has some sort of attachment issues as well, because rightfully so, she was abandoned as a child multiple times over. So I would have attachment issues too. Both of these characters are very complex and their issues are very forefront in this novel. I'm hoping, you know, for a great outcome for both of them, but I don't know if that's in the cards. I really don't. So yeah, I don't know how to feel. I do know how to feel. I like it, don't love it. I'm really hoping that changes, because if this is not 5 stars, genuinely, what book on my shelf is going to be 5 stars? You know what I mean? Like, this is what I was putting all of my hopes and dreams on, and I'm not trying to like push all that on this book, but like I just thought that I was going to be screaming, giggling, kicking my feet right now, and I'm not. So yeah, Just for the Summer, we're halfway through. We're gonna keep reading her, but she's looking like a 4-star as well, so this video will never end. I will update you guys when I finish it, and if it's not 5 stars, we'll keep this puppy rolling. Hi guys, I finished Just for the Summer, and I am gonna give this 5 stars, which I feel like I should be like jumping and screaming about this, because that's typically what like a 5-star book means to me. This one I did really enjoy. I really can't fault it for anything, and I also like found myself getting quite emotional by the end. So like, by all means necessary, this is your perfect book. So I really can't give it anything but 5 stars. I liked this more than Yours Truly, which was the second book in the series, and I think that's just because it had like tropes I didn't particularly enjoy. I did not like this more than Part of Your World. I mean, I don't think I ever could like anything more than Part of Your World, since that book is just one of my favorites of all time. But I really appreciated that we got some like cameos from those characters and getting to see how they're doing. Honestly, like, this was a perfect book. I just like don't love it as much as part of your world. I can't fault the book for that. I had these like super high expectations for this book, and of course it would never fulfill them because it's not fair for me to put those expectations on the book. Flawlessly written, flawlessly executed. Emma and Justin were both so well written, and I enjoyed getting to know both of their characters. This is like a 5-star book, no questions about it. Literally perfection, but it's not like my favorite romance of all time. It was just really, really good, and I can't fault it for anything. It feels kind of weird ending the vlog like that because like I thought I was gonna find an absolute new favorite from this, and I didn't. However, I greatly enjoyed all 3 of the books that I read for this video, so I'm thinking I definitely want to try this again in the future. But I actually think the book that is going to stick with me the most from this is Silver in the Bone, which is odd because I didn't give this one 5 stars. I think I am gonna up this to a 4.5 because like it really was almost perfect for me. There was just a couple things in the execution that I didn't love, but the story was just so fun, and I can't stop thinking about it. Like I really want the sequel. This is probably the book I enjoyed the most, even though I didn't give this one 5 stars. I'm trying to like give books 5-star more in enjoyment, but like there were a couple of things in this one that like just bothered me a little bit. Again, this one was really great and didn't have anything wrong with it. I just didn't love it as much as other books by this author, so like it feels wrong to say like this is my new favorite. Bright Young Women was also fantastic, so really you can't go wrong with any of the books that I talked about in this video. I think that we did a good job picking different genres and exploring those and seeing what my potential 5 stars in those genres could be. I'm glad that we finally got a 5-star out of my 5-star prediction list, because for this video you guys only saw me read 3 books, but I have been like actively working on it on my own time, and nothing so far has been 5 stars until just for the summer, so that's very exciting for me. Also so glad that I finally read this because this was on my TBR for a very long time, and I can't wait for the sequel coming out in July. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Again, if you've read any of these books, let me know what you thought. If you guys want to see a part 2 of this where I read some more books that I think are going to be 5 stars, I definitely think I want to do this video format again because I just got to read really great books, and isn't that awesome? So yeah, that's all guys. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye y'all.